Hey, happy Friday, folks. Yeah, I know it's not really a Friday which is supposed to be happy, but I mean, it is what it is, right? We knew that at some point this was expected because shorts will still be shorts, meaning they will. They were trying so hard to push the price below the 20s. And I guess they kind of succeeded, but I want you to look at something which tells another picture, all right? And if you actually look at the chart on a 1 day, it is hurtful. It's painful, all right? 8%, 10%, 5%, 12%, 15%. Yes, it's been cooling off, but cooling a little bit too much, especially since we've been hitting the 34 intraday a couple of weeks ago. But if you zoom to the 1 month, you will see that AMC is still up 16%. 16% based on where we were 1 month ago. All right. So it is not completely selling off as the media wants you to actually believe. And we're going to talk about it in a separate video later today because I think it's important to actually relate the facts and have people have their attention focused on those facts rather than just what the picture is being portrayed here into what AMC is doing or where AMC is headed to. All right. So I have something which is actually very bullish for the stock to share with you today, folks. And I want to talk about Fed Bullard. So he's one of the governors of the central bank in the US, so from St. Louis, all right? And he was one of the one who was be really, really vocal about the Federal Reserve willing and in need to do much more than what they were doing to fight inflation. I mean, prices are soaring everywhere, and the conflict in Ukraine didn't help things. There's something here when you read in between the lines that is actually going to be very bullish for AMC stock. So please pay close attention with me till the end. It's not going to be long, I promise. So he's saying that we need to get the benchmark interest rate up to 3.5% this year. We need to move. We have to move. Fed Bullard said in a roundtable discussion with reporters following a talk with the University of Missouri. He said his preferred rate was 3.5% by the second half of this year. Folks, 3.5% by the second half of this year? We're not talking about by the end of this year because this is actually very, very different. And that difference is really what is very bullish for AMC stock here. Bullard downplayed talk to that the US rate hikes will push the economy into a recession, saying that the US expansion is not old and continue for a long time. The real GDP will continue to grow at a slower but still robust 2.8% in 2022. This is very important, all right, because people are talking about a recession coming, and when they talk about that, they tend to exaggerate a little bit, talking about a recession kind of like it was it's going to be the end of everything as we know it today. No, a recession by definition is just the economy slowing down, but slow down doesn't mean going back to negative. If I'm driving at 100 miles per hour, if I'm slowing down, I'm still within a decent pace if I'm slowing down to 90 or 85 miles per hour, right? Now, it's getting very interesting because when it comes to how it's going to impact the money policy and how fast and how strong and how quick this is going to impact the market. Some market operators that we know are holding the price of AMC down because can you imagine? Let's go back to what he said. 3.5% by the second half of this year. So the second half of this year starts in June. We are already in April. So we have April, May, June, July. Let's just say we have 4 or 3 months by which they need to have the rates by 3.5%. This is more than just 1.5% increase every single time they meet from now till then. And where it gets very bullish for AMC is money is going to be a lot more expensive than what the models and the algorithms used by the market makers and the short sellers in AMC, because right now, pretty much trading in the market currently is done through computer-based trading. And that's why the SEC is trying to downplay that, to remove that power, because it will actually provide a lot more liquidity, meaning it will make things easier for the retail investors especially. So having a sudden increase into interest rate will shock the system, will shock the algorithm of the short sellers, especially if it has to come on a back-to-back basis in a short amount of time, all right? Because it's going to mean that, well, if I was supposed to pay X amount of millions or X amount of millions into my short position with my broker, well, I need to pretty much multiply that by, I don't know, 3.5. So if you kind of see where it goes, it means they are going to have to put down additional money. And we're talking about a substantial amount of money. But it's going to be difficult. Why? Because what they used to show to the brokerage, the banks, in order to have those collateral, those, credits lines still flowing, where the fact that money was cheap and money is not cheap anymore. Second, they were using some bonds from Russia, from China, but those are also kind of close to zero now. I mean, not even close to zero, but they are very, very less valuable than they were. So it doesn't make sense using those as well. So the only choice remain for them is to actually see on their positions, especially as they are also losing a ton of money. We spoke on that earlier this week. So the bottom line is, as we get into the next months, things are going to be chaotic for the short sellers who are still stubborn to keep remaining in this AMC play. And I guess that's why they're really trying hard to milk this short position as much as possible, because the price is still cheap, all right? And let them do whatever they want to do. But we've seen that the stock price cannot continue to go down forever. At some point, maybe not next month, maybe not in 2 months, maybe not in 3 months, but at some point later this year, things are going to be very difficult for them. And I guess that's why we have so many people bullish on why AMC can reach $50 a share by mid of this year. More to come on that specific item on the next video. So I guess I'll see you there, folks.